American champion.
Uh,
Wow.
no, thank you so much.
Well, how does it feel to hear those words? Have you got used to it
I
yet?
never, no, I never get tired of it. I never get tired of it. Like a lot of clips that I rewatch is just hearing, new North American champion Leon Ruff, because I've always wanted to be a champion, and I've always grew up, hearing the announcers announce the new champion, and I remember the way it made me feel as a kid. So it still makes me feel that way when I hear it about me.
So what was that moment like for you?
That moment was, I mean, I wasn't rushing through the whole day, but I was just so nervous on thinking about doing a good job. And then when the bell finally rung and I was sitting on the ramp, that's when I got a chance to like really take in everything and look at the crowds. I was able to look at the whole venue.
Mhm.
It was really, it's like time had slowed down. And then when Tom, which is the referee, handed me the belt, that's when everything felt real. That's when everything like sped back up,
Mhm.
I would say.
As an NXT guy, was it extra special to win it from Johnny Gargano, who's like the mainstay of NXT for so many years?
It meant a lot to me to win it from Johnny, yes, because of his staple as a wrestler in NXT, but also because he was one of the guys that I look up to when I started.
Mhm.
And it was more, I remember sometimes I would watch his clips and try and put it into a match.
Yeah.
Like I really, really looked up to Johnny. They called him Johnny Wrestling. So I tried to go by Lenny Wrestling on the indies. It, didn't stick on that long, but but it was I couldn't ask for a better match. It was literally a dream come true.
You're so new to NXT. Can you like think of any moment, or have you even been told where like the higher ups from NXT, thought of giving you this opportunity, something that like might have really impressed them?
The only thing that I can think of, and I would say would be maybe after my Cesar, not Cesar, my Sheamus match.
Mhm.
Like I feel like after my match with Sheamus, that's when I got a lot of good feedback from everybody. And I feel like that's when it started snowballing. Like, hey, maybe we can do a lot more with this kid. And then I was carrying Cross's first match, which was a huge deal for him to be, displayed on TV. And I feel like doing so well with those jobs and with those guys, I feel like that has led to, well, maybe we can maybe we can see what Leon can do with the title. And I feel like I'm doing a great
Yeah, definitely. So
job.
let's talk about the moment when that belt fell down. What was going through your head when that happened?
That whole moment, I was just like, well, if anybody, it's me. Like, I mean, I know all my family was watching it, my friends, and they just know how goofy I am, and they know how silly I am. So when that moment happened, because I know that they were just in complete shock, and I know at that moment, that's when it came back to reality. Like, nope, this is still Leon, still doing the same old goofy thing.
How did you celebrate when you won, and who was the first person that you called?
The first person that I called, well, Aja was my girlfriend. Aja was the first
Yeah.
person that I talked to, but call wise was my mom and dad.
Mhm.
My mom and dad, well, just to show them the belt, just to show, I mean, the title, just show them the title, just to show them the aftermath. Like, hey, this is real. Like, I knew that they were so just in disbelief.
Mhm.
So when I called them, I just wanted to see the look on their face, when they see me with the title, and I celebrated by literally the whole night. I celebrated by just being in my room and just being on the phone with one friend or family member after another.
Mhm.
That's how I celebrated, because really, I always say like a lot of moments don't mean anything if you don't have no one to share it with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the moment I won the belt was amazing because I had everyone watching, I had everyone there, everyone in the back, and then at home when it all sunk in, I had my family to celebrate with. I had my girlfriend, I had my dog. But that's what I did after. That's how I celebrated.
When you made the decision to become a wrestler, how much support did you get from your friends and family? And did you have questions about like being a smaller guy? Did people kind of maybe think that being a wrestler was a bit of a too big a dream, maybe?
I am really glad that you asked me that question, because when I first made the decision to wrestle, not a lot of people supported me because I am small. Because wrestling to them, it was you're on TV. You know, you make good money. Maybe you could become like The Rock or Johnson. So there was so many
Mhm.
out of this world things that went with wrestling that it was like there's no way it can happen to you. You grew up the same place I did. You went to the same school I did. You know, and it wasn't until I kind of told myself like, hey, nobody has your back.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to have your own back. So if you put the effort, I'm telling this myself, like if I made the effort to at least go to training and at least try to train, then I would come through and achieve all of my goals. Because I was the only person to have my back. And that sounds so like off the walls. Like, oh, you're telling yourself that you can make yourself a champion, but that's all I had to do. That's the only type of motivation that I had
Mhm.
was telling myself, no, you can do this, and I'm gonna make sure you'll reach all your goals. You just have to try. And it wasn't until after I started training and I started doing matches and started traveling outside of Georgia, that's when people started to really, feel like, oh, like, this is real. Like he's not, he's really putting his best foot forward, and this is something that's achievable. And then everybody started to come around and believe. And now everybody believes.
Well, I saw on Twitter that you were congratulated by X-Pac, and your victory kind of reminded me of his whole 1-2-3 Kids storyline with Razor Ramon. How much did like a guy like him influence you?
So I don't. It sounds so weird to say that as you're being an adult, but when you're a kid and you see like a cartoon character that you like, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm that person," because you identify with them the most. To me, that was X-Pac. He looked. I mean, when I was a kid, he looked the coolest. He wore a bandana. He had long hair over it. He did the what is the Bronco bus? I can't think in the corner, but he was he was small, just like I was, and he was just so energetic, and I really just gravitated towards X-Pac. And like I said, my first wrestling name was X-Ray because it had the letter X in it, and I went to so when I saw the video, because I didn't know he congratulated me on his podcast, but when I saw that, I bawled. I cried so much. I cried so much. I can't even watch it now without getting emotional. It meant a lot to me.
Oh. You did a lot of squash matches as well. Like as a wrestler, how does it feel to be like asked to do something like that? And how do you how are you able to get yourself over in a match like that with such short amount of time?
Another great question. You're just asking such great questions. No, I was always happy and excited when they asked me to do those jobs because I wanted to change the mindset of it. Because not everybody wanted to do those jobs. Not everybody, or if they did, they wouldn't put their best foot forward. And they wouldn't put as much into it as they should. And so I felt like, well, if I can bring a lot of attention to this job, then a lot of more people will want to do it, or a lot of people who are my size who feel like that this is all they have to do, or this is all that they'll be able to do. At least have fun with it, make it your own, make yourself noticeable. So no matter how long the match no matter how long the match was, when they told me, hey, you're going out there, so and so is going over, this is what you got, I had to think of, well, how can I get myself over? I'm doing this for that wrestler, I'm doing this for the company, but I need to be brought back so I can, bring in more money for my household, so I can, make a steady living. So it comes down to selling. They say selling is an art, and I feel that as well. I feel like not a lot of people put enough effort into selling because they don't want to look, vulnerable. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look weak. But it's like I said, it's a part of the bigger picture. And I'm happy to say that I played a part in that, and that I'm helping change it, because it went from, because now people who feel like they have the job, you can be a champion. You can move from one spot to another. It happened to me, and even if it wasn't happening before, I wanted to make sure that it started with me. So a lot more guys that have a lot more opportunities. And that's basically how I felt.
Who are some of the guys that have helped you the most since you arrived in NXT?
Some of the guys that helped me the most. I would start off by saying Tommaso Ciampa was one of the first ones to help me out. Malcolm Bivens, wrestler wise, and it's just because, and it's so hard to name them one by one because everyone there is so nice and so helpful. I got to think of what ways that they help me, because they all help me in so many ways. Like even if it's not wrestling, if it's about how the job works, I get help, from a lot of guys there, or if it's just feeling comfortable at home. All of the referees, Antoine Brewer, Tom Castor, Daryl Sherm, I don't want to mispronounce his last name, and then Aja Smith, like a lot of the referees, like they all have all helped me tremendously. No matter what, they have always had my back.
Going back to earlier in the year, before you were signed to NXT, what was it like being an unsigned wrestler at that time? And did you think that your career could maybe end this year because of everything that was going
on? No, because I know that no matter what happens, people are still gonna love wrestling. So at the time, yes, I was just an indie wrestler, and indie wrestling wasn't going great. But and yes, I was upset, but I didn't think like my career would just end. I just, I would have to put it on the back burner until until the world opened up and we can do shows. But it wasn't and when I got the spots with WWE, I really wanted to do a good job because I wanted to get brought back to keep not to continue to make money, because that's what it was about. But that was my main source of income.
Yeah.
Because I just quit my job. I just moved to Orlando. The Corona happened and everything shut down. So I had to, do a good job so my career could do better. Do a good job so they'll keep bringing me in to get paid. And it was a lot, but I didn't like being. I felt like I needed to be there. Like in order to get all the knowledge that I needed to do to put myself in a position that I needed to be in, I needed to be there. And I like I said, I don't like getting in trouble, so I wasn't causing any problems. I didn't step on anybody's toes. So all the signed guys were, still nice to me because I was very respectful. Kept my head down. So none of them were mean or nasty towards me. But it was a great experience being there, not signed, to being signed.
Who are you most looking forward to defending the title against now?
There's so many people. I would love to defend it against Timothy Thatcher because he's my favorite. He was my favorite indie wrestler, Timothy Thatcher. Definitely like to get in there with Tommaso Ciampa again, Finn Balor. If he did like a champion versus champion, I would really enjoy having a match with them. And there's but there's so many guys in NXT like Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis. Would definitely love to work with those two. There's so many guys in NXT that I would love to work with. But those are some of the top that comes off. Some of the first that come to mind.
And finally, as someone that is new to NXT, but you've got this big title now, what do you want to prove to people about Leon Ruff going forward?
I want to prove to people that I really want to be an inspiration, because it's not about the size of the person or the obstacle. It's about, do you have the heart to continue to push and keep pushing, no matter how many obstacles that that comes in front of you. Because I mean, the best way to achieve something is to find whatever you want and to stick to it, to stick with it. I feel like a lot of people give up too early or too quick because they feel like the world is coming down on top of them, or they feel like the obstacles are way too big. And I'm not the biggest. And as you can see from my matches, it's not like I put up the best fight, but I still fight. And I wanted to show people that you can take a beat and get up and keep it moving. You can keep, continue to move forward. And that's what I want to be, a champion that shows people you just got to keep moving forward. No matter how many hits you take, just keep moving forward.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.